Hello there, good evening. It's 18:30 hours GMT here in Accra, Ghana. Welcome to News Tonight on GHOne Television. We are live from our studios at the Platinum Place, North Ridge. Also live on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube at GHOne TV. Now, here's what we've got for you in the next hour. Lawyer for NPP's Bono Regional Chairman reveals his client's location is unknown after being arrested earlier in the day. Also, fear grips Sola Tuna Kalba after unknown gunmen fatally shot a man attempting to charge his mobile phone. We'll be live in the troubled area. Plus, tell you how overcrowded makeshift camps are resulting in sanitation and health issues as women and children bear the brunt of the humanitarian crisis from the Gonja-Brefo conflict. Also in the bulletin this evening, Abossey Okai Spare Parts Dealers Association vows to fish out and prosecute Ghanaians fronting for foreigners in retail market as it closes over 200 shops perceived to be foreign owned.
No matter what, I know.
Well, in business, the fourth Made in Ghana Bazaar ends with hope of exhibitors reaching wider markets locally and internationally. Also, we share the joy of a blind father and a son who has been given a chance at education again after going blind at 6.
I don't see anything.
Since he can't see, he can't be home. What if I'm not there? How will he be able to cater for himself? So I need to enroll him in school.
Well, you need to stay with me because we've got details of these stories and more in the lineup. Well, this morning, let's kickstart with this evening, with the story. The Bono Regional Chairman of the NPP, Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye, has been arrested by police under unclear circumstances. Now, details surrounding his detention remain unclear as police are yet to issue an official statement. Now, days ago, the NPP executive formally petitioned several foreign embassies and international bodies for political asylum and security protection, alleging systemic persecution, intimidation, and threats to his life under the current government. In a detailed letter dated September 5, 2025, and copied to the United Nations Resident Coordinator's Office in Ghana, the UNHCR, the UNDP, and a number of embassies, including the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, Spain, France, and Italy, Abronye argued that his situation meets the criteria for asylum under multiple international legal frameworks. The outspoken NPP chairman said his asylum request is anchored on a consistent and escalating pattern of political harassment since the assumption of office by the current National Democratic Congress administration in January 2025. Lawyer for Abronye, Daniel Mate Ado, says he has been denied access to his client and he doesn't know his whereabouts. He's joined us for a quick conversation on this development. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. So as it stands now, is it the case that you still have not been able to establish any contact whatsoever with your client?
Good evening, sir, and good evening to your viewers. I can confirm that I have still not gotten access to my client after he was moved from the National Police Headquarters, and I was allegedly informed that he was being moved to the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB Headquarters.
And what is the reason why you've not been able to get access to him so far?
So what transpired actually was after the police, officially charged us, and the charges involved breach of public Yeah, if I recall very well, breach of public peace and then publication of false statements. We responded to the charge and we were informed that my client was needed downstairs in another office. We descended the stairs and apparently it was a different thing altogether. We got down there and a car was already waiting for my client. That was when I was informed that my client was to be moved to NIB. I said, wow. I had to quickly rush back, get my phone and get that off my client's phone. And I had to get my driver quickly follow up, and we got to NIB and I am informed that my client has not been moved there. The NIB offices are around 37. I'm told they are 2. We moved to all the 2 offices. We were informed that my client, Chairman Kwame Bafo, has not been moved there. I moved to the NIB headquarters and I was informed by the head of administration through an officer that they are unable to confirm the whereabouts of my client and that I should move back to the National Police Headquarters and I would see my client there. I came back to the National Police Headquarters around 2 p.m. and as I talk to you now, I'm still wandering about, hoping to just catch a glimpse of my client.
So if I get you clearly, your client was basically arrested after you had actually gone to meet with the police. Is that the case?
So we responded to an invite extended to us by the police.
Right.
Through one officer called GHOne. We got to the National Police Headquarters at exactly 10:20. And he received us. He took us through the process. As I indicated, they brought the charges. We responded to them. And around 12, we were told we had to descend to another office down there. And we descended the stairs to the ground floor just for my client to be moved in a vehicle. And as it stands, I'm unable to trace the whereabouts of my client.
How troubling is this for you?
I mean, you know, and I know, very, very troubling, very, very, very outright disregard for the law. I mean, even if you are telling me that you are detaining my client for further investigations, that makes sense. And we may have to interrogate as to whether that discretion you want to exercise is reasonable or not. But as to just leave me in a limbo, no information, being told that my client is needed in an office down there, we descend the staircase and my client is just moved out of sight and human being would vanish just like that. I mean, this is very, very troubling. Any lawyer in my shoes will be troubled. And as I speak to you now, I am just wandering around, moving to 37 to NIB office, moving to NIB headquarters for the second time, moving to National CID headquarters. Currently, as I speak to you now, I'm around CID headquarters, just trying to find the whereabouts of my client.
And you're not being told specifically where he is?
No. Well, after I returned, I told you that my first encounter with the National Headquarters of NIB, I was informed that my client should be returned back to the CID headquarters.
Right.
So I quickly moved back there and I got in touch with the officer investigating the case. And he told me the last place he moved my client to was the NIB. And after that, I got in touch with the commander involved because he was, supervising the entire thing. And he told me that he couldn't furnish me with any information and that he would refuse to comment.
Right.
That is what a public officer would tell me in the circumstance. So there is no official communication coming from the commander. I don't know if he's a commander, fine, but let me say a commander. That is what he said. That was what he told me. That he's unable to give me any information.
Very well. Well, Daniel, thank you so much. I know it's a very worrying situation, but we'll leave the conversation here. And as and when we get further details about the whereabouts of your client, I'm sure that you'd also share that with us. But Daniel Marty, he is counsel for Abronye. And as he stands now from the conversation, he's unable to tell where his client currently is. We'll keep an eye on that particular development. But let's bring you insight for tonight. So for Insight tonight, we are shining the spotlight on the issue at Abossey Okai today because we know that the Spare Parts Dealers Association, they clashed with foreign nationals competing in the retail market. Now, this confrontation resulted from attempts by locals to close shops owned by foreign nationals deemed to be violating the Ghana Investment Promotion Center law, which prohibits foreign nationals from engaging in retail market activities and petty trade, which is a preserve of Ghanaian citizens. So there's more to the story in the following report by Calvin Powell.
Listen to the chairman's west. Listen to the chairman's west. No matter what. Listen to the chairman's I know. I listen to the chairman. You are Abossey Okai man. So listen to the chairman.
That's why I want you verify your number. But I don't want anybody to insult me.
Nobody insult you.
I'm not here. I'm not those Nigerians here illegal. I'm not those illegal Nigerian guys here. I'm not those illegal here. That's why I want to love you. But I don't want them to I'm here now for Listen, all my children are having Ghana passport. So if the shop is for my...
In the heart of Abossey Okai, Ghana's vehicle spare parts hub, over 200 shops perceived to be foreign-owned have been closed. According to Director of Communications for the Abossey Okai Spare Parts Dealers Association, Techi Ado, the shops will remain closed for 3 days. Subsequently, the two parties will engage to chart a roadmap for the exit of foreign nationals in the retail space.
The law says, as a foreign national, just do supplying, don't retailing. But what is happening? They are retailing everywhere. That's the reason we are saying that if they are not going to act, we as an association, we are going to act on it. Honorably, just close your shop. When you close your shop, we are giving 3 days. If you refuse to do so, or you don't want to comply with what we are saying, then we need to enforce it. That's why we go to court to seek for injunction.
The association's chairman, Henry Ocho, used the opportunity to sternly caution Ghanaians fronting for the foreign nationals. He warned them to desist from the practice or face arrest and prosecution.
We've asked them to bring their documents tomorrow to our executive office so we can do our checks with the registrar's office and the internal revenues to make sure the Ghanaians are not fronting for them. So they'll bring their documents to us. You can't front for a Nigerian. You can't do that. It's against the law. You understand? So if we find any Ghanaian fronting for a Nigerian, we are going to prosecute the person. We are going to take the person on.
Owners of the closed shops refused to engage with the news team. Meanwhile, the association described the exercise as successful, despite encountering some resistance.
Well, so that's what transpired today at Abossey Okai. But let's stay on this development and speak to international trade expert and also executive director of AFCFTA Network, Louis Afo. Louis has joined me via Zoom. Louis, so talk to me. What is your initial comments about what we're seeing in Abossey Okai? This is not the first time we're seeing this kind of planned ejection of foreigners from retail trade. What are we not getting right?
Good evening to your viewers and good evening to you, Joshua. This has been a cyclical issue. It has been a cyclical investment and trade issue that we quickly need to really do a lot of advocacy. There has been a task force before under the previous government set up between Ghana, Nigerian traders, Ghanaian traders, and ECOWAS and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That quickly mitigated the earlier clash last, I think, a year or two. And that task force should be reactivated. The problem that we're facing is that we must have a differentiation between what is investment and what is trade. There is a thin line between investment and trade. And it is this classification that is really causing the problem. GIPC gives the definition of what is investment to Registrar General. Registrar General classifies investment where we have a minimum of either 1 million, the requirement, minimum requirement.
$1 million.
Minimum requirement that you are supposed to meet. That minimum requirement, it does not bar a Nigerian, it does not bar a Ghanaian, it does not bar an Ivorian. What it actually emphasizes is that there are certain sectors that you are supposed to really venture in. The issue that has existed for all this while is the type of industry, petty trade, retail, which is left for those domestic markets. And so if you go to Nigeria also, Nigeria has laws, Article 79 of their law, which really prevents or prohibits foreign traders in domestic sectors, in retail sectors, in petty trade sectors. It is important for a lot of advocacy by GIPC, Ministry of Trade, to engage trade associations, to engage trade organizations, to engage businesses, to really understand the classifications and the limits and the cutoff points. It is lack of these advocacy and this lack of this communication that always arise these issues. For example, it is not, and it shouldn't be only zoomed in on Nigerians. Probably it's because we are the closest English markets. Because if we were having other English markets, we would have seen that kind of in and out. And so, Joshua, to really go back to this, GIPC also have become a bit powerless because they are now seeking the new amendment bill to really become an authority. As it stands, they are not an authority. And so it is very, very difficult in terms of legality to really take certain positions. However, we can really start with the advocacy. We can go back to activate that task force to really mitigate it immediately before it spills.
Right. So for one of the foreign traders that we spoke to, or that spoke in the earlier reports I played, he mentioned that he's not an illegal migrant. As we speak, all his children were born here. They have Ghanaian passports. And so he's been in the business for quite a long time. And so he cannot be classified as a foreigner engaged in retail trade. What do you make of that?
And that is the issue. So now you are talking about immigration issues. So yes, what the law says? If somebody actually naturalizes, or somebody was born here and bred, and the person actually acquires the status of a Ghanaian, there's nothing you can do about that. The person has the right to trade. So now the difficulty is, are you going to go round? Do you recall when President Muhammad gave an ambassadorial position to, I don't know whether South Korea, and everybody was like, hey,
right.
You recall, he is a Ghanaian. So if the person is a Ghanaian, it's a Ghanaian. There, you cannot take that from that person. So I'm not even going to go into that debate. If the person qualifies to be a Ghanaian per our laws, let the person begin. The person can trade as any other Ghanaian. This is it. And so if you want to amend it, then you have to now consult the immigration experts to really make input. But as it stands, the person is right. If the person has been here and the person knows that he has the original status and passport as a Ghanaian, why not? The person can trade.
Well, Louis, let me hold you here for a while. We'll come back and talk about how we can deal with the issue holistically, because President of the Nigerian Traders Association, Evaristus Nwanko, has joined me over the phone lines for a conversation. So, my brother, talk to me. What reports have you received so far in relation to the closure of shops belonging to some of your members at Abossey Okai?
Thank you very much. Good evening for having me, and good evening to your audience. The report we're having is that there was an appeal or directive by the local Buta branch at Abossey Okai for our people to close their shop for 2 days. I think they say they want to use it to gather information about the data. They want to know how many Nigerians that are there. And my executive there agreed that, okay, they are going to do that. They are going to cooperate with them. But unfortunately, you know how things work. Some of the Buta members, I don't know the person who has been doing that. They get some other information to the place. And place is saying that Buta is locking the shops of foreigners at Abossey Okai. Because when you say Buta is locking, Buta is not an enforcement agency.
Right.
To lock shops or foreigner shops, you know. They were doing a simple exercise. Instead of them to tell the place, this is what we are doing. Some people went, sensational and make it, because this thing has been there for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know whether they didn't want to do it the way they wanted to do it, or the way they explained to our people. And so that was what brought about some people doing something like people are having an argument. And of course, you have some Nigerians who are not, they are Nigerian, they are born in Nigeria, but some of them are already naturalized their citizenship. They have gotten citizenship by law, and by legally, they are Ghanaians. Of course, Ghanaians speak with them as Nigerians. So that's one of them I watched. I think that is exactly what happened. And because the man did not want trouble, he allowed him to close the shop for that.
Right.
So that is exactly what information is.
So Evaristus, as it stands now, how many shops are you aware of that were closed today?
I'm not aware of the number.
Right.
I'm not aware of the number. Somebody was saying about 200. Our people at Abossey Okai are not even up to 100. Nigerians who have shop at Abossey Okai, they are not up to 100. Well, we know our members. We know how many they are there.
Okay. But like you said earlier, this is not the first time we are seeing this incident. It's been reported time and time and again. What interventions are you looking forward to really nip this in the bud?
The intervention we are looking forward to seeing is exactly what we have been appealing to the Ghana government to intervene. And not Ghana government alone. By extension, the ECOWAS, leadership of ECOWAS community, that they should make a very distinct law, explain this thing to the citizens. The law should be, remember, some of these traders, most of them are not lettered. So you need to explain so many things to them, because when a Ghanaian goes to Nigeria, you normally see Nigeria as part of his country, even though you know he's a Ghanaian. And then from what we know about the ECOWAS protocol, the ECOWAS protocol is stipulated that a citizen can go to another country,
right?
Have a residence and even establish business and register business, just like the citizens of that country is registered. But in furtherance to that, so many other things are involved.
Okay.
Which, at the end of the day, government needs to explain to the citizens.
Right.
Government needs to explain to the citizens so that they will understand this better.
Very well.
And so we won't be having back and forth, hostilities among ourselves.
So is it the case? Right, Evaristus.
I'm appealing to digital leadership to tone down, to back down, and then see a situation where they can help these traders to get to know about the whole matter. That's my own.
Absolutely. But Evaristus, finally, before you go, you mentioned that the Nigerian shops operating in Abossey Okai would not be over 100. Is it the case that all these shops that you supersede are basically operating legally?
No, they are not operating illegally, as per se, but you see, that what I'm saying, that, like what we've been talking about, what we've been saying all over. This thing is been there and there, but we want to know that, we want to see that most of these people, they want to register general, they register their businesses, and then they are paying their taxes, But then this issue of the GRTs, which I know that of this government, we are trusting them, we are believing that they are going to really make people understand the workings of the GIP. They are going to really explain it to both Nigerians and Ghanaians so that everybody will be on board.
Right. Evaristus, thank you. Thank you. Let me go back to Louis. So, Louis, you heard Evaristus, who is the president of the Nigerian traders here in Ghana. He says, well, they are not over 100. And as to whether or not all are operating legally, he had some explanation for that. But looking at the Free Continental, Africa Free Trade Continental, the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and how we are seeking to boost intra-African trade among others, how do we address this issue such that we do not breach those protocols as well?
Very clear. The ASCFTA is very clear. Joshua, the ASCFTA came to build upon the regional economic laws like ECOWAS, SADC, and whatever. It did not come to eradicate its laws and agreement, number one. Number two, the ASCFTA have what we call concessions or schedules of concessions, where countries submit their, their product schedules, which they want to liberalize. In other words, if this is the product you want to liberalize, in other words, I can export into your country and you allow it, I can trade in that country. It allows that. Now, surprisingly, ECOWAS went in as one block with over 5,000 similar products. That is fine. However, the ASCFTA also have protocol on investment. And I started earlier by saying, let us have a distinction between what is constitutes trade and what constitutes investment. Now, under the ASCFTA, the ASCFTA ensures that national interest is key. So, for example, even though Ghana has ratified, Nigeria has ratified, if they have certain national interest, it should be supra over every other activity, the country has the right to reserve certain laws. And mind you, the ASCFTA has what we call 10% exclusive and sensitive product, which put domestic.
Very well. Louis, thank you. Thank you so much. Louis for helping us appreciate this issue at Abossey Okai. But that's how we end Insights. We'll be right back after this break. Staying on with us here on News Tonight on GHOne Television. Remember, we're still live on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube at GHOne TV. Let's do some other stories tonight. And stricken by blindness at a very young age, Stephen Boy Boaten's hope of education and a fun-filled childhood came to an abrupt halt at 6. Well, he lost his sight to cataract due to late diagnosis and financial constraints. His father, George Mensah, who is also visually impaired, had little to nothing to fend for himself and his son. Education was a mirage until George visited the Ntowada show on Kasapa FM as Stephen gets enrolled at Ikropon School for the Blind. Awiside Dejange has more in this report.
Will you look at away from me?
I don't see anything.
You can't see anything?
Yes.
You can't even see me right now?
Yes.
13 years ago, Stephen's father, George Mensah, also lost his sight to retinal blindness. He recounts how it happened.
I was in school, Emirates, when it happened. I was about writing my examination. So when entering into the exam hall, I found out that there's a form of liquid covering my eye. So I decided I bowed down my head and then raised my head, and one of my left eye was gone. And then later on, after writing the exams, I found out that the same thing is happening to the right one as well. So I decided to come home for treatment.
But his predicament was not as bothersome as when his son began to also lose his sight.
At first, it was only the right eye. So they decided to, do a surgery. They said it was cataract. So we went in to do the surgery, and then they told us that eye is already gone. But they have seen that it's also affecting the other eye. So we should stop at treating the other one, and then let's save that one. That was when the right eye also started failing. We went back to the hospital, and then they said another surgery needs to be done. But after the surgery, he couldn't see. So that was how he also got blind.
Stephen's hope of being a pilot was dashed, but at least he could nurture the thought of having an education and exploring his abilities and opportunities. Unfortunately, that also hit a snag, as the school could not accommodate his disability.
A lawyer? I'll be a pilot.
You want to be a pilot?
Yes.
Wow.
Since he can't see, he can't be home. What if I'm not there? How will he be able to cater for himself? So I need to enroll him in school for the blind. That was when all my problems started thinking every day and night how to, raise that money.
Education was a mirage until Stephen's father was featured on Kasapa FM's Ntowada show with the hope of getting help for his son. Host of the show, Akosia Arenepa Jambili, spoke to the news team on what informed the decision to help.
Thankfully, he came to the studio with a child, so I had the opportunity to interact with him. Then I discovered he's an intelligent boy. So I asked the father, is he in school? He said no. I said no, he has to be in school. So that is what whipped up my interest. Upon speaking to the little boy, I noticed that the boy is intelligent, and then I noticed that we could use our platform as a positive catalyst to be able to take him to school.
Excited about the development, George and Stephen expressed their gratitude. Ntowada is a live show on Kasapa 102.5 FM that focuses on social issues in the country. It airs from Monday to Friday, from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Well, such a great one for little Stephen, and we'll keep monitoring progress with him in school, among others. But away from that, policy advisor for political affairs at the office of the Vice President, Dr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, says government is committed to empowering the Creative Arts Agency and the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture to invest in festivals like the Fetu Afashe for unprecedented opportunities for creatives to flourish and to earn sustainable livelihoods while flying high the proud flag of Ghana across the globe. Now, speaking on behalf of the Vice President at the 2025 Fetu Festival in Cape Coast, Dr. Fusompofo disclosed by strategic investments through the Ghana Tourism Development Company and the Tourism Development Fund, government has already disbursed over 30 million cedis in ensuring that festivals such as the Fetu Afashe remain both cultural sanctuaries and engines of economic growth.
Celebrated by the people of Cape Coast, the Fetu Festival is held to thank God for a successful year and to pray for protection and guidance in the coming years. Now in its 61st year, the esteemed festival of the people of Cape Coast is an exciting mix of tradition, culture, and fun. Speaking on behalf of the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Pokwajiman, during the 2025 edition of the festival, Policy Advisor for Political Affairs at the Office of the Vice President, Dr. Samuel Fusompofo, highlighted the cultural relevance of festivals like Fetu to the creative economy and reaffirmed government's commitment towards development in the Cape Coast metropolis.
Through the Creative Art Agency, working with the Ministry of Tourism and Art and Culture, government is investing in unprecedented opportunities for our creative to flourish, allowing them to earn sustainable livelihood while flying high the proud flag of Ghana across the globe. Our tourism sector, strengthened by strategic investment through the Ghana Tourism Development Company and the Tourism Development Fund, which has already disbursed over 30 million Ghana cedis, is ensuring that festivals such as the Fetu Afashe remain both cultural sanctuary and engines of economic growth.
The 2025 edition of the Fetu Festival was themed Innovate to Elevate.
Now, internally displaced persons in the Savannah region are crying out for urgent help after fleeing deadly clashes between Gonjas and Brifors. With makeshift camps overwhelmed and basic amenities lacking, women and children are bearing the brunt of the humanitarian crisis.
The Gbiniyiri land dispute that erupted on August 23 has left in its wake more than 30 deaths, dozens of burnt homes, and shattered livelihoods across 61 communities in the Bole traditional area. At least 48,000 people, mostly women and children, are documented to have fled to refugee camps both in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. These displaced individuals are grappling with dire conditions in the various camps. Children's education have been curtailed.
So yentimi nyeska enfan tobi adwane de yenye kakra yene ha na de de beboa nkwala no yeni bi aye de beboa de omoto no ma awoni nti amosora na omo popo
de endo se mu de gare bae ebimu ndi gare na de anu so mo de banso a ebimu bebre wo mu je na wo ye mu atu esu to yan so ba bi e da no ni nyina ya poto na ya hawo ni nyina ebimu kura fatale amma de ayenti obia antima nyina fi kura antima fanitale ni se bi gina we metale ba ko pe kura me enima na teme ete ye finya gise me si ha ho na masan fa ase ete ya hawo ne ye dan no shi ne normal ye didamu no ana ye nyina problem ha.
Access to water, food and hygiene remains a daily struggle for hundreds of displaced persons.
It has not been easy with us though the government is trying their best, but some of the challenges that we are facing is the rice that they have been given. So the cooks only try their best to cook the rice, but I don't know the kind of rice, so it's not only well cooked. And other challenges is because of the raining. Whenever it's rain, like the day it's rain, the women find difficult to even sleep. If they can look like the other way to get some mattresses on sleeping places so that it can make a sleeping convenient for us.
At the Sola Tuna Kalba police station shelter, residents complain of poor meals, leading to constant diarrhea, while traumatized mothers mourn their missing spouses and struggle to care for infants, a challenge echoed by the Red Cross, which has appealed for further support from stakeholders.
What we are doing is that the breakfast, we're supposed to get some beverages that we can use to support the people. And actually, we don't have any beverages around. Because when you want to give them the beverages, you need to add bread and whatever. So we normally do a food that will actually support them. So because of that, sometimes we do rice water. And this rice water takes time before they get the breakfast. If you look at the population of the people, if you want to provide them bread or any bull fruit or whatever, I don't know whether we can call it donor or whatever, it is going to be a problem to the camp. So we are pleading that if we can get that kind of support, it will be easy to take their breakfast fast.
Ghana's National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, admits it is struggling to provide proper meals due to financial constraints.
Because we have enough rice and we have enough oil to be able to take care of these people, at least for the next 1 to 2 weeks. However, we have challenge in terms of financial resources. We are resource constrained because you need to add ingredients. You need to add some protein needs, especially the children. You can see that it's the children that are many.
Although interventions by the Yagbonra and the government have seen many return to their communities, over 13,000 residents remain refugees across Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso.
Well, let's engage DC for the area. Sekina Saka, he's joined us on the phone lines. So clearly a very devastating story of how residents there have to live in the various camps and shelters. What has been done to make their situation better?
Thank you very much. Good evening. We are doing our best to get the situation better, and all things being equal very soon. It is our prayer that this conflict will come to an end. One of the challenges we are having is this. You know, as our stable food is not rice, we would have preferred the Tibet or the Fetu. And as you are aware, the situation in which they find themselves, Fufu or Tibet is supposed to prepare for the majority of the people. And these are people who are not, to some extent, used to continuous taking of rice almost every day. I believe that is one of the reasons why some of them are not okay with the rice. Again, in most of our communities here sometimes, there are majority of us because when you cook rice, they may tell you that, oh, I don't like rice. I believe that's one of the reasons why they are also complaining. Unfortunately, all our partners that are helping us, almost everybody is bringing rice. That's the situation.
Okay. And so how can we make it better for the residents there?
With regard to the feeding, we are appealing to other individuals or groups who may bring in different types of food like beans or garri, so that we can have a sort of balanced diet. If not, as we speak, almost everybody that comes with rice. Okay. And that's the challenge. That's why they are not able to get varieties of meals. We'll come to you, I'm sure, hopefully tomorrow and get to understand better the situation there. But thank you so much for your time. That's DCE for Sola Tuna Kalba, Sekina Saka. Well, fear we know has also gripped residents of the area after unknown gunmen shot and killed a man who was attempting to charge his mobile phone. The shocking incident has heightened tension in the area, with residents expressing deep concern for their safety as police intensify investigation
situation. So let's go to the phone lines now, speak to our man on the grounds and get to understand the situation there. Salafadam, so what really happened?
Oh, thank you very much. I think what you have just heard from the other partners, other leaders of the community, victims of the community, that is actually true what they have just told you. If we come to Solatuna Kalba currently, as yesterday, a man named David Poole was traveling from his community to go and charge a phone in Kalba town, thinking that the incident that has happened, the conflict or the clash has actually come to an end. So he was thinking, he think that he has flew away from his community that he was staying, but where he went, there was no power for him to charge his phone. So he's actually going to Kalba to charge his phone so that he can actually call his family, friends to let them understand that wherever he is at. So on his way to Kalba, he has been ambushed by unknown men who fired him on his forehead. And through a patrol team of the police, Ghana Police Service from on the ground, when they were doing their patrols, they came and met this body, and currently the body is at they conveyed this body to St. Anne's Hospital in Damascus currently.
Vero, Salifu, thank you for the updates there. Let's bring in the latest in the world of business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Well, in business, the fourth Made in Ghana Bazaar ended with the hope of exhibitors reaching wider markets locally and internationally, while the Ministry of Foreign Affairs outlined some measures to help Ghanaian businesses reach international markets. Some exhibitors credited the bazaar for helping to create awareness of their brands to prospective customers. There's more in this report.
The Made in Ghana Bazaar, a flagship program of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, initiated in 2018, pursuant to its economic and industrial transformation agenda, ended with exhibitors looking forward for bigger opportunities to expand their brands. The 3-day event gave participants and exhibitors the opportunity to promote their products and services. According to the ministry, information on exhibitors will be compiled and circulated to Ghanaian missions for assistance in identifying new markets for their products. At the closing ceremony, the Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, James Jachikwason, charged exhibitors to add value and invest in their products to create opportunities for the youth.
Adding value, we're going to give more employment opportunity to our youth. You see, that is the biggest problem we have in a lot of unemployment. And if we don't address it and tackle it and use this researching agenda to build and open opportunities for the youth, so there's time for us. And I'm very happy to be part of this administration because of the agenda that the president has taken. We are going to make sure all our missions abroad will also be part of it. They will be the ones they will be like a sales agent. They will be promoting these products wherever they are stationed.
Some exhibitors expressed satisfaction with this year's bazaar.
Honestly, we have been coming. We came to the second one, the second edition, the third edition, and the fourth edition. And it's all good, especially the second one and the third one. We came to meet the potential buyers who are now doing business with us. So this particular fair is not necessarily about the sales that we are going to make here today, but the potential buyers that we are going to get in future. That's the most important thing to us. And a lot of people have come to our booths who are interested to transact business with us.
It has been a successful event. Starting from the Friday, it was a very busy day yesterday as well as today. So overall, it has been an impressive program.
This is my first time with this particular bazaar, and so far my expectations were quite high, but of course it hasn't been bad. But we hope that moving on, hopefully next year, it will be better, it will be grand, there will be more advertisements, and I'm sure it will be a success. But so far, so good.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says they will continue to work closely with its partners to identify more markets for Ghanaian products and services.
Now, after years of dormancy, the Prestea Bogoso mine is set for a major comeback, with Heath Goldfields pumping $75 million into its revival, a move expected to restore jobs and hope in the Prestea community.
Once marked by despair and uncertainty, Prestea Bogoso mine takes new turn as Heath Goldfields takes bold steps to restore its operations and revive livelihoods in the community. Speaking during a tour of the mine, Managing Director of Heath Goldfields, Patrick Mensah, disclosed that extensive refurbishment works are underway to prepare the process plant and underground facilities for production.
We're planning to start commence testing of the process plant equipment within this third week of September, and then by first week of October, start production from this process plant with the open pits. And then at the same time, we continue to upgrade the pumping installations underground.
On employment, the mine operations manager Samuel Boete Hajo revealed that Heath Goldfields has adopted a phased recruitment strategy with priority given to former workers of the mine.
Heath Goldfields has plans to employ the former workers, but what the strategy is that we are doing it in phases. So the first phase, as we mentioned in the earlier press briefing, we are going to employ some limited people, but we're going to look within. The former workers are the people we are going to target first, then people will be also from the catchment communities. So the former workers are our key targets. They are the people who employ to get the work going. When we get to the stage of now operation or getting to production, we also are going to fall on the former workers to call them back.
Some residents of Prestea welcomed the revival of the mine, describing Heath Goldfields' intervention as timely.
Ma yehia ekuro no yehia adwuma nti wa ba edu omo modin de obefa adwumafo ma wegina de ma first na FDA wo ho na ofa nkofo mo ye adwuma no ofa da beburu so obe ye adwuma e na ba na kase na so mato na galamsi ya de bia oguede fa kakra be ko ho otufo nyina de otu afa kakra ama kuro no so wenya ne fa so.
The revival of the Prestea Bogoso mine signals a new chapter of hope and opportunity for the community.
Well, so that's it for business tonight. We'll be right back with more.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Hey!
All right, so thank you so much for sticking with us. And what we do know now is that currently the Black Stars of Ghana are playing with their Malian counterparts at their Crossport Stadium. Catch live commentary on Star 103.5 FM. It's supposed to be a crucial one for Ghana because we need to win and be remain on top of the table to qualify for the World Cup. But that's how we wrap up the bulletin here on GHOne television. There's more news for you at starfm.com.gh. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. And yes, go Black Stars, go.